got all these dividers rough cut, I'll put it that way. I've got one end squared here. The next critical thing for me is to get this center divider cut to depth and square. So I'm going to start at the center line and then move my way in both directions. I believe I'll be able to flip the board, and because both of these edges are parallel, and then by doing that, locate exact center for both pieces. Now the depth of cut, I'm just gonna put it where it is. It's about halfway, and then I'll cut my divider to fit that opening perfectly. And then from there, all other cuts are going to be based off of that. So let me get going on this and see how this is going to work out. All right, I changed my mind. I'm not going to work from the middle out. So I did my first board, and then I've made marks where I need to run the second dado on both ends, or both sides, I should say. So the difference here is, or the reason I'm doing it this way is because even if I'm a little bit off of center, I'm very close, so I'll put it that way. But even if I'm a little bit off, I'm using the same reference edge to cut the board. So this board was cut from this reference edge. This one will be cut from the same reference edge. And that's why I need the mark to see where I am with my dado stack. So if I hit this mark, then these should end up being parallel cuts. Well, they will be, or I should say perpendicular cuts. They will be perpendicular, but I also need them to be in alignment with each other. So I'm going to cut this one and wish me luck. Well, I came within an eyelash. Of being nearly perfect. I'm just a hair off. Probably, 4 or 5 thousandths. So I've got to live with it. The important thing is that when I look down the barrel here, these are running perfectly perpendicular to each other, or to the boards, and consistent all the way down. So the next thing to check here, all right, that fits. Okay, the length of that center divider is this length plus 2 times this depth. And this depth is 26.26. These measure a quarter of an inch, 0.25. So I've got to add 20 thousandths to this length to get what I think will be a perfect height. So I'm going to set my saw blade up for this length, and then move it 20 thousandths and give it a run. We nailed it. And there's just a whisker of movement there. Same there. This is tight here. I'll just attribute that to the board. Let me check the other side here. It's good. And this one here is identical. Just a few thousandths of an inch play. I'm going to call that well done. All right, I have never spent so much time on a case in my lifetime. It should be square. Check that. If I can find where it is. Now it's got to go this way a little bit. No big deal. All right, time to work on these pieces here. And the critical thing there will be to get them equally divided. This is how I'm going to figure out my dividers. I'm going to go the long way. And I have 7 dividers. I should say this is how I'm going to figure out. This is how I'm going to figure out the spacing for my dividers going the long way. I have 7 dividers, 8 open spaces. So when I go from this measurement to the top, I'm at just shy of 19 3/16. And if I divide that by my number of spaces, it's 2.398. I'm going to call that 2.4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make a 2.4 inch spacer. That's where I'll start my first cut, and then just keep moving it over that incremental amount. All right, I made my blocks. Put one in here, drew a line, used a cutoff for a spacer for where the data will go. Another piece, draw the line, another dado. Then just continue up. This side gets filled up this way in this repeated fashion. Then I did the same thing on the opposite side here. Well, I couldn't stand it, so I had to make all the blocks. And it works out perfectly. This one just slides in there. This last block. So this spacing is beautiful. I'll just transfer all the marks, and then I'll be ready to make those cuts.